Welcome back to It's Okay, Habibi. This episode is a doozy for me. Noel asks me a lot of personal questions, as per usual, and I was not afraid to answer them, but I will say I'm a little afraid for you to hear them. Hoping that you'll comment some feedback about my life journey and the issues or growth that I'm feeling with identity and what that means for my relationships. Thanks for listening.
Episode 16.
Is this 16?
I think so. Last week we would have been 16, but then I was like, can we not this week? And you were like, yeah, no problem. And I was like, I love you. And you were like, I love you too.
Do next week. There's always a next week.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. As you know, today was a super temperamental weather day for Florida. Did you have hail?
Nah, but I just saw videos about like how crazy it's getting in Tampa. So we didn't get anything here. It's like sunny here.
I took some like awesome videos from my balcony of like 1 hour. It was beautiful. Then it started looked terrifying. Then from terrifying, it went to like you can't see shit. Then it went back to beautiful in 1 hour. And I was like, I would never date this bitch.
What time was that?
I think around 11 to 12. I wasn't really paying
Oh,
attention.
I was like noon. Okay. I thought it was like
Yeah.
in the afternoon because I just started to see videos in the afternoon. I was like, oh, maybe it's happening now. But okay.
Yeah. No. So I really don't know what time it was, but I was like, I'm gonna post this just to show it because interestingly enough, the most views I got on any video ever was from Hurricane Milton, and I just like it was like a 30-second clip of like the lightning going crazy. So I was like, Florida might help me out again, but I was too lazy to do it.
There you go. While you have the videos, you can always just post them.
Yeah, I'll overlap it with this. Two birds, one stone. Yellow.
Sounds good.
What's going on with you?
You look gorgeous.
Oh, thank
I
you.
really
Yeah.
like it. Like the whole look with the little hairs left and right and whatnot. It's
Thank you.
cute.
Thanks.
I
This is
think
one of my favorite colors actually to wear,
that is actually color really looks good on you. Like earthy color. I think we both realize like earthy color is like our kind of tone.
for sure.
But I really like when you do this with the hair. I don't know. It's like maybe it like shapes your head in a way or whatnot, like the face.
Yeah, my boo-boo likes it a lot. So like I started doing it a lot more.
This?
Yeah, he absolutely loves this. So like I started doing it a lot more after I met him.
I mean,
But
he's
I guess
not
he's right.
wrong. Yeah.
Now he's gonna be like, never do it in public again. But
Yeah.
thanks.
No, it
But
looks
yeah,
good.
how are you? Actually, I was like, how are you? You were like, you look beautiful back to you.
I am doing great. I don't know. I woke up today really like feeling great. I mean, I sent you a couple of those videos that I thought were really interesting about like how we like over stress about stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I was like reading like some of those videos, and like one of the things that I was like thinking about in the moment, it was more, I know this is gonna sound like really stupid, but it was like more about like my dog. And I was like, you know what I realized? Like when I try to nap and my dog like wakes me up and like I get like super annoyed with him, but then like when he's napping and I'm like trying to play, like he wakes up and he's like ready to play. And I'm like, is that has something to do with how like stressed we are? Because it's just like very different reaction. Like for animals, like they have no deadline. They don't need to like nap and relax because like when I nap, I'm like, oh, I have 20 minutes. I'm just gonna take a quick nap because I have to wake up and like go do this, this, and that. So I get like really annoyed that in a moment when he like wakes me up because I'm like, oh, now I have to like try to nap again. But for him, he's just like, I'll just nap in an hour. Like it's not a big deal. So a part of me was like as I'm like, watching all those videos, like we're taking life too seriously. Like it's not that big of a deal. 36 is not too late. Like you're still a baby. Like still going on. I'm like, maybe there's a lesson in that. Like maybe we should just like slow down and like learn how to live more like a dog.
I did not expect it to wrap back to the dog. You kind of mind fucked me when you said the thing about, when you wake him up, it's a different reaction. Because at first my brain was going like, I do the same thing with my cat. When she wakes me up, I'm like, I'm about to send you to a farm. And then when it's her, like when I wake her up all the time. She doesn't like it either because she's a cat and she's not a dog. But I was thinking you were gonna point at the double standard, and then you were like, "No, Dobby, like, enjoys it, and why am I not more like him?"
Because I feel bad in the moment because I know he's not. He just like brings his toy and he just comes in excited, and then I just like I go just like ugh, seriously, like I'm just trying to sleep now, but I feel bad afterwards because I was like it's really not that big of a deal. Like he's just trying to play. Like I could just play with him, but then I'm like, why was I reacting that way, and why he doesn't react that way? Like he's not bothered when I go and you know wake him up. And I was like, well, he has nowhere to go to. He has like nothing to do. So I must created such a stressful life, or like we just our life is just stressful that we just feel like we can't even freaking slow down and just take a nap. Like, don't
I
stress
think
about it.
to run it back for the context, I think the videos that I remember you sent is the one with Gary Vee saying, like, if you're 36, you're still a baby. Like, stop acting like you need to compare yourself to Timothy Chalamet or Kim Kardashian and like these outlier billionaires who have done a certain thing by a certain time. Like, go on your journey. And the other one was Gabor Mate, a psychologist. I will say psychologist, but I don't know which version of it he
He's a
is.
doctor and he's been doing research the last like 10 years, specifically trauma.
Yeah, and so I think he also in Pal Perspective, we showed one of his recent films. I think it's called Where the Olive Trees Weep. And it just kind of talks all about trauma and that's his thing. But anyway, that video was him talking about Winnie the Pooh and saying that, he wishes if he could go back in time that he would have spent more time with his family and played more. And those videos actually got me thinking too. Like I just went on a walk with my boo, and first it was the Gabor Mate video that I had watched. And so like on our way back from the walk, I was like, what would you change if you could go back to high school? What would you do differently? Before I share like what our talk was like, I mean, I immediately was like, I'm going to ask Noel today. Like, if you could go back to specifically high school, like, what might you change?
Wow. Catching me off guard here.
That's what the
What
questions
would
are
I
best. You could think about it
change?
and change your answer tomorrow.
I think my high school years, I 12, 13, 14 is when I was starting to get picked up as like the nerdy kid at school who's like knew all the answers in class, and I was like the nice boy who's like good at stuff. So I started to be called like maybe gay, maybe da 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 da. And I kind of like shifted that narrative to like high school where like I started to hang out with like all the bad boys and it became one of them. I was like blending in so bad to a point where like that was not me. Like what I was doing, like the shit that I go back and look at, like I was so rude to teachers. It was just horrible. Like, I was like trying to find a reason to be kicked out, but I was like so consumed and like fitting in and blending in that I did that. Um, and honestly, I still came out and what they were saying gay, like it still applied today. So, I mean, maybe it made my life easier at the time because I wasn't bullied at that point anymore, but it was not worth it. So maybe what I would change is just like not giving a fuck about that and just like just being more me, like not going through that journey where I was trying to be something and like just be, you know? Like it's gonna be okay.
It's okay, habibi.
What about you?
Uh, I and I don't know if I was influenced by the videos that you sent, but I was thinking back to my happiest times of life in general, and it was after my mom died, which is really like hear me out. But I went on the journey of like not worrying about family and just thinking about myself and like what would make me happy. And that's when I started acting and discovering myself. And the best times of my life are when I got to be a part of a team and play and experiment and not be afraid to like have attention on me. So like this idea of team was stuck with me. So I was like, I would want to go back to high school and actually play sports. Like I would do volleyball or soccer.
Hmm.
I did have a brief stint where I was on the track team, but like I wasn't good and the coaches didn't pay attention to me and I didn't learn anything. And I can't even tell you what happened in that season, but I'm sure if I played something like volleyball or soccer, which is like a real team sport, I that was my only change. And it was because I think I would have developed that sense of community earlier. I would have developed confidence, a relationship with failure, a relationship with winning, a relationship with performing under pressure in front of crowds, all the things that I had to wait until college to start testing out and to start figuring out. And then even after that, right, like acting to figure out rejection and all that stuff. So I truly think had I played sports in high school, it would have been a world of skill building that would have made me a stronger person in my future and even affected the way that I date. Instead of looking for a guy and that marriage and all that stuff, I might have really leaned into it is so fun to be part of a group and to win together. And I might
Uh,
have continued to look for friend groups instead of focusing so much time on, a monogamous relationship that would hopefully turn into marriage at 20 fucking years old.
huh.
So, and I say that sounding triggered because I do wish I would have spent more time doing those things. And I do it now. So that's how I know I would have loved it then. I do all of these things now. The joy, the community, the play, the whatever. So it worked out, but I would have liked to learn that lesson earlier.
That explains a lot why when we were hanging out at your birthday at the beach, the group that you are surrounding yourself around is like playful. Okay,
100%.
that makes so much sense. How old were you when your mom passed?
23,
And when did you go to college? What age?
18 to,
So,
yeah.
college years is when you started to experience sports, you're saying? Or no?
No, so my college years, I actually joined like a co-ed business fraternity. And the other important feature or factor to say is that I grew up with my brother and sister, who you've met my sister. And so you see her personality is like super attractive, super charismatic. And so when she and I are in the same place, I just fold in. I'm like, she got the energy, she got the mic, she's better with it. Like, let her have this moment. And I just observe, I fold and everyone knew me as her sister or my brother's sister. And I went to school with my brother, not with her. But point is, I was always in their shadow, always, always, always in their shadow. And as the baby of my family, never had to make any decisions. It was always someone will lead the way, and I'm not responsible to lead. So when I went to college and I was on my own, it was the first time I got to create, like many college students, it was the first time I got to create an identity for myself. And in terms of leadership and learning what that was, I became the president of my organization, the one that I told you about. And I had to like go through a lot of conflicts in working with the group to figure out what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. And it was a great experience. And that's where I met Jasmine, who is the founder of Therapy for the Culture. So she was my mentor in that program. So I met lifelong friends. I made these bonds that clearly help my life till today. But all that started in college when I was able to start thinking about who the hell am I and what do I like? And who am I when my brother and sister are not there to be the bigger personality? So that's where it started. And then after my mom died, I was able to, and it wasn't because she died, but it was as a result of her dying and me having that existential crisis of what the hell is life, even that I started to say, I don't want to spend any of my time being miserable. I want to enjoy every day. I want to learn. I want to experience things. I want to tangent. But did you ever watch Titanic?
I've seen it, yep.
So there's that scene. My mom loved the Titanic. I'll later from that. It was like one of her favorite movies. And it's a big one for my family that we get really emotional and sentimental about. And I created this narrative that I would love to ask my mom about, in the afterlife. But I believe that my mom loved Rose so much because the main character, because she was living in this like caged world. And then after the Jack impact, where he showed her freedom and he showed her like enjoy. She survived the boat. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Titanic, it's your fault at this point. But she survived the boat. And then there's this scene where they go over all the pictures in the old Rose's room. And you see that she went horseback riding, like split leg, and she like basically did all of these amazing things that she told Jack were out of her reach when before he impacted her life. And so I always think about my mom being the potential for what Rose was able to do after she survived. Because she was this big personality and she did do things she wasn't supposed to do. And she didn't act like a woman and a lady. And she did divorce the two men and said, F y'all, I'm gonna take these kids on my own. I don't need you. Or she did all these things that women weren't supposed to do. But I don't think she got to the joyful horseback riding scene. And so it made me want
Mm.
to do all those things. So that's why I care so much about play and about like not giving a fuck what people think and about trying and experiencing because I've seen the other side. It's not fun to not try.
Isn't it interesting though that you went through that experience with your mom, you've experienced that, and yet recently you found you're like chasing after I need to get married, monogamy, I'm getting old. Like we talked about the age and that pressure, and like now you're going back to like realizing like what happened in between? Like did you get caught in loneliness or like what you know what I mean? Because you were there.
Think it's a thing. So this goes back to what I said to your man at your house yesterday. And I think I mentioned to you that I found these old letters that I wrote to myself for like my journals.
Mm.
And I found an entry from when I was 16 years old and an entry from when I was like 19 or 20. So my mom was alive for both of these. And in both entries, I am still talking about the dumb fuck decisions I made when it comes to dating and when it comes to how I think about myself. It's crazy. Like I still, I was still doing the same things. And so I think what happens is, and I'm actually going to talk to my therapist about this. So this is a great question, and it's one that I'm asking myself: is what is this pattern of achieving flight, feeling like I am a free bird and a gorgeous phoenix, like flying, and then going, I want to go find a home and close the cage, not just like have like a home that I could live in, but I closed the cage behind me. And that's not any guy's fault. That's my doing that I abandon what could be or what is and what is thriving and what is going to be. I kind of just drop it all for this idea of like you said, like monogamy and marriage and this thing. And I think it's not loneliness. I think when I'm alone, I feel great. Like I said, I feel like a phoenix in flight and I enjoy solitude. I've really learned to love spending time with myself. I'm telling you, I am a fool and it is hard to compete with like how good of a time I have when I'm just chilling by myself. So the real question is like, why do I continue to think that the alternate universe of like kids and marriage and whatever is better? Or why do I keep trying it? It's a great question.
I don't think it's better is sometimes if we lose ourselves with I just need to get married rather than like I always knew that I wanted to get married and I wanted to be a husband, but I was like so hung up on I'm not just gonna like settle, I'm not gonna like let go of things that are important to me and are true to me just to get married. And this is what we were just talking about before is that you were just there, like literally right after college, your mom passed, you felt that freedom, you were like, this is me, this is what I'm going through. I wonder if it's life, because even though right now, I mean, I've been married for 7 years and I'm mostly the breadwinner in the house too, so I do feel that extra pressure, blah, blah, blah. But I would sometimes feel that when like life keeps like punching you or like you have a stressful day of work or something like I could just like I wish like my husband was making like millions of dollars and like I can just tell everyone like F off and like quit my job. you know? So I wonder if like sometimes it just gets really hard and instead of just like categorizing it and putting it in that category over there, we just go full on like, I know what, it's just easy. I'm just gonna go find that husband. I'm just gonna settle down. I'm gonna give up all of that. That's fine. Like I will take dealing with the husband over, over the dealing with work or something like that.
I think it could be multiple things. I wish I had pen and paper because I was thinking of so many things as you were talking about what it could be. And one thing is love feels nice. There is no doubt in
Yes.
my mind
Yeah.
that I want to spend the rest of my life with somebody who makes me laugh and makes me feel seen and safe. And honestly provided for. I would love that, right? Like if we're talking best case scenario, all of the above. I want that. However, it could be that like love just feels nice and when you are in that honeymoon phase with someone it is so attractive and I'm such a romantic and a dreamer that I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is right. This feels good. As my sister put it, she was like, you're impulsive and you make these decisions in a day and that becomes your identity for like a couple of months or until you're over it and then you switch identities. And I wanted to be offended, but I'm like, I did switch careers like 16 times in a decade, and although they are aligned, then there's a through line through every like inspiration that I have that I go chase, she's right. Like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be a stand-up comedian, and then I just go do that. I go test that out, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be an actor, and then I get on television, and so I think I think it is part of that impulse. Like I'm in love, I'm gonna do this now. So it could be that. I think
Mm.
where there's room to grow for certain, and not to hurt anybody or waste their time and not waste my time is to say that second question that you asked is are you abandoning who you are for that impulse, that picture, that want, that desire?
Career, the wedding, the life, the whatever.
Yeah. And people do this not just with relationships, right?
Oh, they
There's a
do it in
movie.
their career. Like sometimes they might be like, I actually don't like this job, but like I'm just committed. It's my career. I'm gonna like act like I like it. And they keep acting for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's not even acting. Sometimes it's a survival decision, right? Like I want to go be perfect example. I want to go be an actor, but I need to pay my bills and this job will pay me 80 to 90K a year. That's how much I'm gonna give my dreams up for because I need
Uh,
to pay my bills now and my dreams might not pan out, right? And
uh,
so there's this movie with George Clooney and I forget that the actress, I think it's Anna Kendrick, but it's called Up in the Air. And he has this line where he says like he asks people when he's firing them, the whole movie's about he has to kind of go fire people. And he asks them like, what was the number you sold out for? Like I know you didn't want to be a
accountant,
processor. Yeah, an
whatever. Yeah.
accountant. I know. I didn't want to say accountant because I'm like, I don't want to insult
No,
accountants,
no, yeah, but yeah, whatever it is.
but like whatever. I know you didn't want to be an accountant when you were 7 years old, like, dreaming of flying cars and shit. Like what what did you want to do and what number made you sell out? And that's kind of how I think about a lot of these things. And it's like, so for the relationship, it's the same thing. Like and that's what you're trying to get at with me is like, what part of it made you sell out?
Uh,
Maybe what you were flourishing in the path you were on. And I don't want to say that, for example, the current relationship I'm in is a sellout. But what I do notice is that I over orbit in their world and I stop orbiting in mine.
but not just this relationship. Like I know from our conversation, even now, like highlighting what your sister said, you do that in everything.
Yes, I do that everywhere. So that's exactly why I'm making sure to point that out. Is that I think something that I don't want to say because well, I guess it's a moment of growth for me and I'm just having it publicly. But if you don't know who you are and you don't stand firm in that, it's very easy to get pushed off your ground. It's like easy to abandon. And I think I started this conversation by talking about like self discovery and trying to figure out what my identity was. And I think it's fair to say, and okay, it's okay, Habibi, to say that I still am finding who I am and I'm
Yeah.
still learning who she is. And I think like who she is, the child in me, like trying to get back to that, right? I'm still learning who I am. And each iteration of the lesson is different. And I'm finding out what my non negotiables as a human are. Some of them have been the same since childhood, right? Like free Palestine, protest, speak up, be moral. These values have not changed. I don't change my values on a whim. They have never changed. And many people who know me, who can, I think, can attest, can say, "Oh yeah, no, she's the same bee she's been since we were 7." But what does shift is my life decisions. Like,
Huh.
what is my identity going to be? Like, what is my future going to be? And I think I have such a hard time with that. And now I'm just hypothesizing, but I think it's because I was the baby and so many things were decided for me. And it might be why I love systems and creating systems and organizing systems so much, because it's the only place I feel grounded. Like I understand where to put myself. But this even goes back to the conversation we had, episode 15, I think it was, where we talked about free will is fucking hard. Free will is hard. Making these decisions for myself is hard. And maybe I just want a partner to help me get through it all.
Yeah. Do you feel that way in our relationship?
I think you are my platonic soulmate. I think about how I've wanted to do a podcast since 2018 when there was only like less than 500,000 podcasts, period. And I've been wanting to do it forever. And then I met you and I had the thought. And then I saw you that day. And then you said the thought, the same thought. And then you are the executor to my dreams. Like you were able to get the steps done that I was not able to get through. And at the same time, you sit me down and you say, why are we not getting through this step? Like, I'm going to get us through it, but do you not want to? Is this a block for you? You see me, you push me, like you make me feel safe and seen. And we laugh and we're idiots together. And we're also, you know what I mean? We make mistakes together. So that's what I mean. That's what I would want in a partner, all these same things, except someone that I'm gonna want to then, sleep with, have babies with, and like just the romantic parts of it. But I want exactly what we have in terms of how I feel like a phoenix flying as a result of our relationship and every time we're next to each other. I make just hard decisions. I call you. I literally have something I got to talk to you about my finances. And I was telling my guy, I'm like, oh, let me talk to Noel first because I'm going to make this big decision. And it's actually whether or not to dissolve my company. Right. And so I just want to say that for the public. Like, those are questions I'm having. But anyway, yeah. So I forgot what question you asked, but 100
So
million percent,
one
you're a partner.
thing, no, I guess well, first, thank you. I feel the same way about you. My question was more because you mentioned when you meet someone new or like you start something new or whatnot, you just get so consumed in it that you might lose yourself in it or like give up
Throw
areas
the
about
whole bitch
yourself.
away.
Yeah. But like, have you done that with me? Like, I guess I'm just wondering, like, is it like have you felt anything different within our relationship? Like that you've like have you given up areas that are important to you or who you are within this relationship?
No. And I think that's a beautiful thing, difference to point out. I have never abandoned my world for friendships. My friendships only add to my world. They always help me flourish. They always do exactly like I have a bunch of girlfriends that I feel do what we have. Like I'll call them and I'll be a better fucking person by the end of the call. And even if it's just because I cried and blubbered and cursed and vented and then by the end I'm like I'm back to me. So the difference is this is just for romantic relationships. I
And
tend
work.
to work is different because work, yes, but work is like there's survival attached. There's like practical
Yeah.
issues attached.
It's
And
like
so
I
it's
have
not
to get the
fair.
work done for the paycheck.
And even then at work, I have never negotiated who I am. For
Mm.
work, all of my work has been in something that I love. And that's why I have over a decade of leadership in the nonprofit space because I care about social justice. And that goes back to those ideals I told you I've had. Growing up Palestinian, I think specifically is one of those things that you learn about justice and how it shows up in the world and how you have to show up in the world very early. So I've never negotiated what kind of jobs I'm taking. I've only negotiated how much time I'm giving them versus the jobs that, like, give me life and like
Mm.
would make me like so overjoyed. Like they are trade-offs. But even when I trade off, I know exactly who the fuck I am. The only place I start to negotiate what I care about or who I am when it comes to, I guess, identity, but not values, is romantic relationships. And it's not about changing who I am. Like, oh, if they think, I don't know, if they think planes are cool, all of a sudden I think they're the coolest thing ever. No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I will abandon the path that I'm on, the world that I am building. I tend to abandon that and abandon her, who is working on that, to go be with him and support his world. And now that could go back to gender roles and what we were taught to be as women, to be the supporter, that he's going to take y'all from rags to riches. And you're supposed to be the girl who stands by his side, like Conor McGregor's wife. Or, I don't know if this is the only example I have, but like you're supposed to be his refuge, his home. And so something about that narrative stuck with me. And I am a ride or die. I am a loyal person. I do want you to do your best. And so I get lost in, what is your world? How do we build it? What do you need? Like, what is the world we're trying to build together? And instead of thinking about like that person that I was. And so for me, the balance is, I'm learning not at all abandoning my path and instead trying to do an integration. If this is what my world looks like, it's important to me. I don't want to stop doing this world. And like, what is your world? And how do you ask the same questions about my world that I'm asking about yours?
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that's the bigger theme, is that I switch into this role that I think I'm supposed to play as like wifey. And I'm really good at that role. I think that's why I've never been the dumb bee. It's because I'm really good at building a home. And I know that that's something I want to do. I just can't keep trading off the world that I create.
I'm interested what comes up from your conversation with your therapist because there's a lot to unfold on here, but another layer to add to it. I wonder if because you are a giver by nature, and sometimes givers tend to like lose themselves because part of giving is like fixing someone else. Like even when I see red flags or whatnot, I'm still gonna fix it. I'm gonna go and give. I'm gonna go and do. But then but then suddenly down the road, you might just like, hold on, what about me? But then it wasn't that the other person did anything wrong, but you've set that tone from the beginning of like me about your world, me about your world, and then like suddenly it's just like, hold on, wait, that was not the agreement we're signing up on. But I think it's more to come on this conversation for sure. But I'm interested like to see what comes out of it with the therapist. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Cause I think also the last thing I'll say is like the byproduct of that is like, I, like I said, I think I end up misleading other people about who they're getting. And I keep like, women are always on the lookout, right? Of like, who is that person pretending to be? Like, when is the other shoe gonna drop? And it's kind of like, oh shit, I inadvertently am the person who's pretending to be someone else. Or, maybe not pretending, but like filling a role that is not sustainable, you know, not asking for my needs, not putting myself first, not doing all these things that even for example, right now, right, the guy that I'm dating is the best guy I've ever dated. Like in the way that he takes feedback that I give and is generous and like wants the same things I want in terms of like a future.
And the way he shows up, like in the world, like I met him and he's just yeah.
And so even that, like now trying to adjust for, you know what, I forgot kind of that I'm this whole other person and I'm gonna like pull an okey doke. Like I need you to now start dating this new person. Or not new person, but like the person that you met, basically. Like I need to kind of be more of her. And the last thing I'll say about it is I think it goes back to acceptance. Like, I don't know if I will be accepted as that girl. And so I
Mm.
know this girl is palatable. I know this girl is who guys want. I know this girl is who will get the ring, not that one. And it's like, well, this girl's way more cool and fun and, brings the smile to my face just thinking about who the fuck she is. And I think that's on me to figure out how to always put her first
I
to an
wonder if
extent.
there's a little judgment in there of like who you are. Like if you look on it from the outside, that you feel like this is not what I want to present first to the person that I'm dating. But then down the road, you're like, no, no, but hey, hold on, this is not me. Like I need to be really, really, really me. And then at point where like, are you gonna still like me for being me? But you have amazing friendships and relationship in your life that know you for who you are and like you for who you are. It's just something that is linked between romantic for you that is like, oh, maybe this is not dateable or whatever. I went through something similar with my therapist. We were talking about like I don't know why I always have the need, even though I know I'm a good person. I know people who's gonna meet me, they're gonna like me. I'm very open-minded, understanding, like a kind person. So I have like really good qualities that meeting me for the first time, really, there's really not much negative that you can point out, or whatnot. But even though that, I still have the need to kind of portray what a good gay person look like. It doesn't matter, but it's like as if it's like a mission for me. And then she's like, "Hold on, I have a question for you. How do you see gay people?" I'm like, "What?" And
She
I was
asked you that?
like, "Yes." And I was just, and we haven't answered that because I was like, do I have like internalized homophobia that like I see gay people as negative and like I'm trying to like not portray it, but at the same time, when I want to represent it, I'm like overdoing it because if I told people just I'm gay and just being myself, then there's something wrong with gay. So I have to kind of overdo it with the nice part because I'm trying to portray like a gay equals all those good stuff as well. You know what I mean? Like
I know exactly
yeah,
what you mean.
yeah, yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Holy
So
crap. I mean, that's a great question. I'm glad she asked it.
yeah, I
Because
was
you're
like,
performing. And she's like, why can't you be the thing? Like,
yeah,
well, how do you see the thing?
yeah. So we don't have an answer because I don't know if I mean, I think I do have internalized homophobia, like in words, because if you were born always being told there's something wrong with you for being that, and like as a kid, you're just processing that in your head, the same way with like I had couple of friends like from school that were not virgins at age 12 or 13 and the society keeps telling you you're not a virgin, you're a bad person, you're a virgin, bad person, even though they're not, they're great people. It's just in your head, you might always think like, I mean, I know it's normal here, but like for the Middle East, there's still a little bit of that stigma where like when a girl is dating a guy, even when she's like in the 20s, she has to break, it's like come out and say, hey, I'm not a virgin. I was like, oh, okay. It's just like, it's like, but in your head, you might be thinking, being a virgin doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Like, I'm still a great person. That has nothing to do with that. But like, do you internalize it as like being bad for not being a virgin because you've been told that not being a virgin is bad?
I'm afraid to say I'm not a virgin now. Like, I'm still afraid of that from obviously the upbringing you're talking. Like, what you're saying is 100 million% true. It's terrifying to go against the culture, whatever culture it is. It's terrifying to step outside of it.
And
And I
just
think
society in general, like everywhere.
yeah, and so, like, going back to you, right, it's also, like, you're trying not to be the stereotype because you've already stepped out of the norm, right, quote, unquote, "norm" by saying you are gay in the first place, so now you have to do all this work to say, "I'm not that different. I'm not the bad thing you think it is. I'm this good version of it," and it's like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Hmm.
what's the bad version?
Yeah.
Why are you subscribing to the fear? I love that question that she asked you. I mean,
Hmm.
she's amazing.
Yes. And I can only imagine, like, even for you, it was probably 10 times worse growing up here because you're battling two different identities and cultures at the same time. And that's something that I wasn't aware of until like I talked to my cousin who was like born and raised here. Even though like she is Lebanese, like she was telling me like high school years was like one of the hardest for her because the Western culture is like you need to go date and be with guys and like just be around. I know maybe Western families, they don't, I mean, I don't think they have most Western mentality or society is like it's okay if you were like not a virgin as long as like you do safe sex, be protected, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. At least that's what I see around. But then the Middle Eastern culture and society, like if you were raised in that household, it's like you're not allowed to even talk to a man. Like, don't even talk to guys. Like, that's not okay. You need to wait till you're getting married. And like, how do you be still cool at school and not like, do I choose to be bullied and not be that cool person at school? And you're still gonna have a horrible life because you're already Middle Eastern, you're already othered, and you're trying to blend in and fit in. Or do I go and like date and, do what the Westerns are doing and like come back home and like have to like freaking have fights at home with my family and being disowned or whatever. It is so confusing. It's so, yeah, I don't think you're gonna win. And it's easy for people to say like, you just need to know who you are, like be true to yourself. I don't want to be bullied either. I was that, you know what? I was in Lebanon. I was that good kid. I had the highest grades. I was a nice guy. I didn't sleep with men. I didn't even know that I liked men. And I was just being called gay just for being a nice, kind person who was good in class and just doing great grades. And I started to pick up really early that you will be bullied. Like for someone who comes and say like, yeah, 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 even you're a girl being born in a Western society, you just need to know who you are. Don't sleep around, go gay and stick to your culture. And it is. But do you want to live that life at school? Because it's horrible. Like, it's like you're never gonna win. I chose to like, I'm just gonna join the bullies and act like I'm part of you. And I went back home and I remember I used to be like kicked out of class and walk back home and my mom like 11 a.m. She's like, what the heck, Noel? Like we're paying for school. Like what are you doing? Like they're going crazy. But like I had to choose that poison over being bullied at school. Poison back to Western society, you're never gonna win as a girl. Like, what do you do?
Well, yeah, I mean, for us too, like the it was like, oh, just hang out with girls, right? Like we were only allowed to hang out with girls. It was like hang out with girls only, and we had mean girls. Like they were mean fucking girls who ruined your security, like your self-esteem. Like they would ruin your reputation worse than any boy ever fucking could. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, and girls have always been taught to like take each other down. And, I think in recent years there has been this movement of women need to elevate women, and and there's men who are like we need to elevate women, right? But we tore each other down so bad, and so it was like, I'm just gonna go hang out with the guys because at least they don't do this part. And that's like, well, then I accept, the scarlet letter I accept the whore title, I accept, so it's like you're right, like it's no matter what you do, you're fucked. All we're trying to be is alive and have a sense of belonging. That's it.
Uh-huh.
Like we just
Uh-huh.
wanted a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And society is trash. And even then, right? It's like live like the Westerners or live like the Arab. And it's like, well, my identity is Palestinian Arab American. I am a Westerner.
All of that.
And yeah, and I am, the Arab. And like I should be able to have the best of both worlds. And instead it's the worst of both worlds
And
growing up. And then we adult and then we're like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna take the best of everything. And that's how we've accomplished
and I tell
this.
you, Amal, as much as you and I keep romanticizing and like wanting to get in touch more with our like Middle Eastern culture and what it is, it would be so hard for you to go live and fit in that culture there. You would lose your mind because I would too. So to your point, I guess at the end of the day, we are Middle Eastern American, Western. Like we're just everything in one. Like there's
We
no
don't have to
one
choose.
label. Exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think that's part of the trick is like they make, one each side will always make you think you have to choose that side in its entirety. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
this is what makes me special is that I have multiple perspectives as a part of my identity. And there's so many of us now. And I think the mask has been lifted. Like I think a lot of us are like waking up to the fact that we don't really have to choose and constantly be in this internal conflict. It's unnecessary and it doesn't help.
That's what your man and I were talking about yesterday, especially for like, let's say he was calling them like the haram police. But it was so on point because you will never win. Like the way you are dressing right now is haram for someone. Okay, don't show your shoulder. Okay, you're done. If you don't show your shoulder, next person would be like, "Well, why are you not wearing a hijab? You would wear a hijab." And then the next person was like, "Well, you should wear a niqab." I was like, "Okay, well, I'm wearing a niqab. Okay, don't wear makeup. Okay, I'm not wearing makeup." And then you do all of that, get married, stay at home. You do everything. I was like, "Well, don't drive." I was like, where does this end? Like, there's always going to be someone that who you are, whatever you do, regardless of where you're at the spectrum, that they're gonna be bothered. There's something bothersome for someone about who we are.
Yeah, like even our video that I finally saw the comment about my eyebrows the other day. It's like
Yes.
I'm like I think it was the Raji Cook video, but I'm like, oh yeah, Raji cooked, developed this thing for the transportation system that we all use today. A Palestinian did it. And they're like, softening your eyebrows would do wonders for your life. And I'm like, bitch, my life is fine.
Oh, and then it's like, what is wrong with your eyebrows? Like, I still don't understand. Did you respond to him? Because I know you were saying you were gonna respond with the. Wait, are you a stylist? Which kind of eyebrows do you think would work or something like
At
that?
least offer me some tips,
I
right?
love that.
Maybe that person was right, right? Like maybe I do need to soften my eyebrows, but can you tell me how?
No,
Can you tell me what that
no,
means?
no, you
You
do
know?
not. And
I don't
honestly,
care,
it's like
bro.
so off topic. Like this is what bothered me about some people as like another term that your man taught me yesterday. What is it called? A ninja keyboard warrior.
But yeah, keyboard warrior.
This dude is like so on point with like the social terms. And then I love that because it's just like, yeah, behind your keyboard, like you have a whole video about like a topic that is so important or like something that is so interesting. And when you decided to speak in that moment, that's what you decided to talk about.
You said that with your mouth. Like you thought that and you said it out loud. You
Yeah.
shared.
You were
Okay.
like, this is such a cool video, but you know what I want to add to this conversation? Her eyebrows. If she actually makes up like she didn't even like he didn't even acknowledge the conversation. He just like allowed himself or herself. I can't remember if it was I think it was a man.
It was amazing.
Yeah, that it was like, you know what? But her eyebrow like a really good convo, but the eyebrows, I needed to click comment and like type what I think she should do with her eyebrows. Okay, noted.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have just said noted, thanks. And maybe I could have kept the engagement going. Noted, thanks. By the way, we were actually talking about Rashi Cook. What did you think about that? How did you land on our page? Just go back and forth with them, like survey them. Like, can you send
No.
photos of your favorite kinds of eyebrows so that I can change myself for you?
Yep, yep.
Whatever.
No.
Anyway, but to your point, yeah, people are always gonna have something to say. But I want to get back to something before we like close out like time. I know we still have like 10 minutes, but I don't want to forget
Absolutely.
it. It went back to that first question that I asked, which was like, what would you change in high school? And after we answered those questions, I was like, knowing that that's what you would have changed in high school looking back, what do you think you would change now?
Now that I talked about all of that,
Yeah, like what do you think? Like, so for example, if you do you have an answer or no?
no.
So my answer was, like high school, I thought I would have played sports. Like I would have jumped into leadership and team and all that stuff earlier. And if I had to think about now, what I would do differently is I want more play in my life. And not the kind of play that the Gabor mate video is talking about of like just enjoying your day, but like I want to figure out how to infuse play into the jobs that I have and into everything that I'm doing. Like how could it be more enjoyable? And that's it. That's I want to figure out how to make a game of every day. Cause some things are just boring and that's fine and that's responsibility, right? Like cleaning the bathroom isn't really fun. But even that could be a game. Like, oh, I wonder if I can get this done in under 10 minutes, or like how white can I get the tub? Whatever, right? Like there's ways to play all the time. And I want to kind of be like your dog. Like I want to be up for play at
Yes.
any given time.
Yeah. No, this is really good observation because I keep trying to go back and think through my story, and it's really hard to pinpoint because in a way, I did play. In a way, I went from like very rigid and like it flipped in high school where like I was literally just crazy. Like I was just getting kicked out of school like almost every other month or like not every week, but it was not good. It was play if I think about it. So I don't know if I would change that to be honest, because I was dealing with so much in Lebanon between like our personal home financial situation, between me being Palestinian living in Lebanon, between I'm trying to figure out like my paperwork over there and like blending in society. Me choosing to do what I did in high school was kind of like a survival, mechanism or choice that I did. And I don't know if I would do it different. I probably would just keep doing it because I needed it. I don't think I was able to handle another layer of being
Mm.
bullied for being gay or like the smart kid at school or the nerd or whatever, all of that, because that was all cause like was lumped together for me at a younger age. So I don't know if I would want it that, but if I would say something to myself as a younger self, I would just say like it's honestly gonna be okay. Like anything that was so scary and like nervous about and like how it's gonna work out and what am I gonna do? Like I'm in freaking USA, like have an awesome job, living a great life. I have my citizenship, like all those things that was I was nervous about my financial situation, about do I have legal papers? Do I have a citizenship? Do I have a decent job? How's the economy? I have all of that. Am I gonna get married? Am I gonna find love? I'm gonna come out? Am my family's gonna accept me? I did come out. My family is accepting me. My family is loving. I have a great husband. Like it's honestly it was just so much bigger at a younger age than it really is right now. I need to say that to myself now because now at this age, I have other things that are making it bigger, stressing out, like figure out the career, figure out the goal, figure out the retirement plan, and I was just like, it's gonna be okay. I need to play now more. That is the reminder that I need for myself.
I think that's beautiful. I do, because I actually started smiling a lot when you said like, I wish I could go back and tell them it's gonna like tell him it's gonna be okay because that's like literally what we're actively doing is this show is like it's okay, like I promise you everything is going to be okay. And so it's like on a daily basis or at least on a weekly basis, like we sit there and mirror that for each other. And it goes back to that other video you sent me, which set the whole tone for this conversation of, Gary Vee saying like 30 whatever is still a baby. Like you are still a baby. So in the same way I look at high school me and I'm like, oh, you little baby, you're so stupid.
Sure.
Like we are like we're gonna
What
be,
didn't we read a statistic that says like people change career and like start figuring out like their final career or whatever at age 38?
yeah.
We're not even there. And like we're
No.
like so stressed. So it's like, oh my God, we still don't know where like to lock it where to do what. Like who cares? Who cares? It said most people start to figure out at like 45 or something like that too. It's just like it was just crazy.
It's like that video that you sent. Oh, they reached out to me. I should reach back out. I don't know if it was that you that sent it, but it was that phone booth. And it was like, leave a
Yes.
kind message. It was basically like the one person that got on the line said, like, I met the love of my life at like 45 and
Yeah.
I did blah 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 at this age, and they were like, stop rushing to figure it out. Like, it's gonna be fine. And I don't remember what she said, but I remember how she made me feel. And it was just relieved. I was like, it's gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
I think it was like call your younger self and like talk to it or something like that. That was so sweet. One of the things that just popped to my head as we're wrapping this up, it's actually we're leaving it on a high note. One of the first things now that I'm going back in my journey that it felt it was like rebellious, but like my first moment of like I'm not gonna give a fuck. Like, just like move on. I remember my first year of college, my best friend, who's still my best friend now in Lebanon, and I, we both went to med school before switching to business. And we did the whole year. And like at the end of the year, you go study for the exam. And like at the end of the year, you do like one exam for like everything you learned throughout the whole year. And I remember we studied, like me and him, we got together for like weeks before the exam. We studied the day of the exam. We got there and you like read, they have like a little board down there that you read like your name and they tell you like which floor it's at and which class that you're gonna go and take the test. And I remember like I was like looking and I was like, seven? What the fuck? Like I looked at him and I was like, I'm gonna walk up 7 floors to take that test. And I'm like, I'm not going. I was like, I'm done. I quit. Literally. And then he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm done. I'm going to the cafeteria. Like, I'm not fucking doing this test. I'm quitting. I'm done with med school. And then I just like said, and he just looked at me as like, fuck it, I'm done too. And then he just like walked with me. And I swear. And we both just like, we're just done. We went to the cafeteria. We were playing cards with the boys down there. We just like finished like the thing. And then I went back home and I was like, I'm done. I quit. And my mom was like, what do you mean? What are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go figure out what is the next best thing that I'm gonna do. And then I switched to business the year after or whatever. I was like 19, I think, at that point. It was like that moment for me that was like, yeah, fuck this. Like, I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to be in med school. I don't need to figure it out. I'm done.
If
So,
you won't even go up 7 flights of stairs, do you really want it? Like,
no,
I'm gonna ask myself
I
for
did not.
every choice I ever make, would I go up 7 fucking flights for this?
I will use that word. It's like, will I do that? If yes, then I will. Yep, yep. That was
That
the
was
day.
beautiful. I want that to be our episode title. Would I
Yep,
climb stairs for this?
yep.
Um,
That was a great one. I really love this. I need to
it
know
was.
how your therapy session goes.
Thank you for asking me like the tough questions. I kind of almost want to just send her this episode and be like, "Can I pay you for 2 sessions for you to listen to this episode so I don't
And we
have to
talk
fucking
later.
say, yeah, yeah," and then we'll just debrief after. But I will let you know.
Or you take the transcript, throw it in ChatGPT, and say, I want to meet with my therapist based on this transcript. Summarize.
See, that's why you're my partner. That's why, right there.
Yep, yep. All right. We'll call it
All
a
right.
wrap. We'll
All
talk
right.
again next week.
Next week. Bye. Yeah. Happy Eid to the Muslims on Friday. Okay. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, please consider leaving a comment and a review. It helps us improve and reach more people.
We're all just trying to figure it out one conversation at a time. So go easy on yourself, trust the process, and remember, it's okay, Habibi.